Hey, everyone. So look, home buying can be super stressful. It's a highly emotional decision, and for many of us, it's the biggest financial decision we'll ever make, right? There's a lot goes on with it. Sometimes you overspend, you go through bidding wars, and a lot more, right? It's just a process. What I'm going to help you today is um, get these emotions out of the way, right? Let's remove the emotions. Let's use the data and math to help you make sound decision, right? All been there. We've all gone through it, and I have made several mistakes. So learn from my mistakes. Learn from my clients' mistakes, right? Let's avoid all that costly mistakes so that you can make a better buying decision. Live listing case study, and we'll go through some calculation, the loan estimate, property taxes, and my tools. Okay. And what I've done, so I've many of these videos I've created separately. So how do you calculate property taxes, right? How do you find out what are the title fees? What I'm doing in this video is I'm combining it all, right? So this is what I do with my clients. I hope you find it beneficial. I know a first-time home buyer, this is a must. Even if you're buying, if you sold a home, you're buying a second home, right? Maybe you're downsizing, whatever. I highly recommend you to share this video with those folks. So just watch it. So let's begin. Look, today, what's happening? The market, you know, folks are right. A new home, first-time home buyer or someone, they just get excited, right? They go into Redfin, they hit Zillow, they fall in love with the property, and it's super emotional, right? Based on that payment and price range, shoot, I make $90,000. I can afford this home. This is not a problem. So you call frantically, you call the agent that's listed possibly, and you said I need to buy this home, and the agent said, yep, no problem, this is easy breezy, let's get a mortgage, let's get you in front of one of my mortgage guy and gal, right? Let's get a pre-approval done. By the way, in my opinion, pre-approval is garbage. Let's get the submit offer. You go to and submit the offer, and I don't know if you're going to overbid because it's buyer's market, but market is still hot in many zip codes, and the deal is closed, right? Voila, you're excited, you celebrate, you've moved into the home, and then the reality hits, right? Now the emotions has settled in, right? This is what's happening today, by the way. This has happened for years and years, right? And unfortunately, the professionals in this industry have been trained to take advantage of these emotions. Okay, so you move in, you realize that, look, this is not a laughing matter. You realize that gosh, bulk of your income is going towards your home, right? Just paying for the bills. Your furnace stops working, sprinkler system needs to be fixed. There's a leak in the basement. Literally, I'm telling you what I have gone through it, right? So, and there's like another 10 more. So, and then you realize, a year later, your new property tax bill comes. It has increased by 30, 40%. Right? This is unnecessary stress that we can all avoid. At least let me prep you for that, right? So you know that, can you really afford to buy this home or not? So how about we flip the script? How about we run the numbers first before looking at a Zillow, Redfin, or speaking to someone? So this is what I do with my clients, and I'm exactly what I do with my clients. I'm going to show you. So we review the listing together. We look at the gross versus net income, right? Because at the end of the day, net income is what really matters. We show you how to calculate or what's the real future taxes will be. By the way, some of these things I've already have videos on them separate. So this video is going to be long, right? It's designed to be long, and we're covering a lot. And unfortunately, we are still at the surface level. There's so much more, which this will turn into an hour video. All right. So we'll look at the interest rate, APR, and we'll also get a chance to review a loan estimate at a super high level. That's a video in itself. So let's go ahead and begin there, right? So let's look at a real life case study. Like I posted about this on Facebook. If you haven't, um, if you don't follow me on Facebook, you should. I have Instagram, Facebook, and then of course my YouTube channel. You can see all the stuff that I put. In fact, let me just show you, right? So I cover all these things, right? I mean, you don't need to pull your credit before we can get your loan estimate. That's nonsense. That's the law. It's a federal law, right? So anyways, so we'll go through here. I will, with my client, I will look at the listing. One of the first few things I'll look at is if anything, let me remove my face, put it here. All right, it's saying this is good. Like if this said new roof, new this, I would have said, all right, let's go ask for, um, I think in my post I said, let's ask for those bills, those documentations, right? Those warranties, are they transferable? So we'll look at that. I'll come back here and I'll take a look at school district. It's Birmingham. All right. So I'll come back here and we'll start looking at the numbers because that's what really matters, right? The data and math. So look, unfortunately, the way our lending world works in the United States is we look at gross income. You and I both know that what really matters is net income. So let's just go this route, right? So all right, so I compile this data point current versus future, right? Future because your interest rate, you're not interest rate, your taxes will go up. And how did I figure that out, right? There's a video for it at a high level. You click on this comes up, and I just inputted this data point and it showed me 9646, and I inputted that 9646 divided by 12. There we go. It's $803. Okay, so really the difference between what Redfin is showing you, what I'm showing you, and I don't know if this is accurate, by the way, but we'll leave it the way it's shown today, 175. Fine. And there's a difference of $308. All right, but that's really not the big problem. The big problem is here, right? So let's assume you make $90,000. We divided that by 12, you get 7,500. What this is saying, let's just look at this ratio. Front end ratio means that in this case, not in this case, front end ratio definition is what are my expenses, just the housing expense, this portion compared to my monthly income, right? So what we do is we divide this housing expense by your gross income, and it says 48% of my income, right? 40% of my gross income, so not net, goes towards my housing expense. 48%, okay, gross. I'm gonna just keep this zero for now. Well, let's just make it the same. And this, I'll just say 850 for now, let's say. This is my other debt. Think about all the other debt you have. This is just housing, right? So other debt, right? The expenses related to buying a home, right? The water, electric, internet, landscaping. Let's assume, by the way, this is low end, 850. All right, I put it 850. Now it's saying that, hey, based on if I add that debt, 60% of my income goes towards the all my debt. But in reality, as you know, again, gross income, right? In reality, you and I know that this is not enough. What about if you have, kids? Massive cost, Netflix, gas, right? I'll give you some examples, right? This can easily go to 1600. Let's just change it back to 1600 of other debt. Monthly expenses, by the way. You are already at 70%. So 70% of my income, my gross income, goes towards the housing expenses as my other monthly debts. All right. Here's the problem. I'm using gross income. When you know this, is if you take your 90,000 and you take 30% of approximately 25 to 30% that goes towards taxes and payroll deductions, you're really at 5250, 63,000 annual salary. So if I come in here and I look at net income, okay, so everything else is the same from the gross side. Well, if I'm using net income, take a look at my back end ratio, right? We call it basically this is the back end ratio. This is the same thing as before. My housing expenses plus my all other debt, and I'm only using 850 here. So 85% of my net income goes towards my housing expense and all my other debt. Let's change that to 1600. If I do that, you're in trouble, right? I mean, even at 850, you're in trouble because if I go back to 850, it's saying that, okay, 85%. My annual savings is only $9,450. What about this, right? Where is this money coming from? And what if I do need a roof? What if I do need a furnace? I'm not scaring. What I'm trying to tell you is let's not create unnecessary headache for yourself. This is buying a home is no joke, right? It's super stressful. Um, you get into quite a bit of debt. It's one of the best purchases of our lives. Trust me, for my family, it's done us really well. We've used the equity increase in appreciation to pay for not only one degree, my private bachelor's degree, and also my master's. Is paid for many other things. We bought cars. Um, so, but responsibly buying a home, just looking at data and math and not cut out this nonsense, right? Is what I'm referring to. Let's get you to look, this is what I do with my clients. I get them to look at the numbers, and then once we understand what they truly can afford, right? Comfortably afford, then we go and speak to an agent to look at Redfin, Zillow, right? So before I end this, let me just show you. So this is public knowledge. Consumer Finance Protection Bureau publishes this, right? The difference between interest rate and APR. Look, this is old, but this is pretty real. If someone tells you a certain interest rate, go back to page number 3 and see what's the APR is. APR is basically, so you've got the interest rate and then all the fees. After you add all the fees, these fees, then that's what shows up as APR, right? So there's a video about title that I've made. Take a look at those video. We've covered the property taxes. This is my pricing engine. We've also covered this. This is how I come up with being a true fiduciary, right? So I will shop for your loans with 50 plus lenders across the country. This video alone can save you thousands of dollars. So take a look at that. But I hope you found this beneficial. Take care for now. Have a great day. Thank you.